Hello everyone, this is General History, and this is part 2 of our Panzer Corps 2 playthrough. As you can see, we just finished the first battle in the Poland South campaign, and we're about to move on to the second battle, which should be the area around
It appears
Warsaw.
I've finally convinced High Command that a direct drive on the Polish capital is worth any and all risks involved. Perhaps we will meet our deadlines weeks after all. The last major obstacle between you and your ultimate objective lays in the thick Campinos forest. A few well-entrenched Poles here could slow you down, so be prepared for that potential. Additionally, Kluge's 4th Army has trapped a pocket of Polish troops in the region around Kutno. Luftwaffe bombs have mostly obliterated a poorly organized counterattack from these troops, but now you must occupy Kutno directly. Anything less would just invite our enemies to reorganize and launch an attack on your flank as you approach Warsaw. Once that is settled, I want you to pivot your troops and aim straight for Warsaw. Be prepared for a tough battle clearing the streets of the capital, though. So don't overextend your forces in a race to get there. Destroying the last of the Polish strong points here could deal a devastating blow to enemy morale. So, I recommend timing your thrust into the city to coincide with its destruction. At this rate, we could be back in Germany by October. And I would love to give my report on the end of the Polish campaign to High Command in person. Make it happen, Herr General.
Okay, so we're about to start the Battle of Warsaw. As you can see, it's September 10th. Now, okay, so we have a new hero. Learns from mistakes, 3 times experience for suffer casualties. That's pretty interesting. I don't think I've ever got that one before. Alright, let's take a look at the map. Now, like I said, this said it was started on, this was taking place on September 10th. Now, technically, the first probing operations for the Battle of Warsaw started on the 8th. German Panzer Division started reaching the outskirts and the suburbs of the city. Now, you can see some Polish do have some fighters, but the Luftwaffe had conducted major bombing exploits on the city due to the fact that the Polish army decided to take up basically residence in within the city, which allowed it to become a military target. The problem was because of the heavy Luftwaffe bombing raids on the city, the city was in desperate ruins. Very similar to what happened at Caen during the Normandy invasion. It made it very difficult for tanks and infantry to move throughout the city, and the German infantry were very inexperienced with actually urban combat. So they took heavy losses in those initial probes of the city. I think it was something along the lines of almost 40 German tanks were destroyed as they tried to enter the outskirts. Then, not only that, but as the briefing mentioned, here near Kutno, near the Panzer River, the Polish had amassed a strong counteroffensive aimed at hitting the Germans in the flank, which actually sent the Germans attacking the city into full retreat and had to deal with these Polish in this pocket known as the Panzer Pocket. So that's where we sort of start off this mission. Now, let's go ahead and start taking a look at our forces. Let's go ahead. As you remember, I took green reinforcements, which only allows me to take up to 3 elite replacements. I'm trying to look, see where I want to use these replacements. I think I'm going to go ahead and use one on this recon unit, seeing as it's really heavily damaged and it has pretty good experience. So it would lose a lot if I was to give it green forces. I'm also going to go ahead and use my elite reinforcements on this Pioneer unit, and I think I'm going to go ahead and use it on this Panzer 2C. Alright, so everybody else we're going to go ahead and re-equip with green reinforcements, and there we go. Alright, so let's take a look at our, got these tank units. I'm actually going to take a look at upgrading my Panzer 1 in this instance. As I said, they did take Panzer 1s and Panzer 2s are not very good for city fighting, as the Germans found out. I think I'm going to go ahead and just upgrade it to the Czech Panzer 38T. Go ahead and do that. Let's see what we have for upgrades for our recon. Okay, yeah. So this one has better defensive ability. It also has better initiative, which means it has a better chance of attacking first. So let's go ahead and upgrade that. Let's see. Can we upgrade our bomber? We can. We can bring in the 111. It is going to cost an additional core slot, but we still got 7 to work with, so I'm okay with that. And that looks... you know what, I'm going to go ahead. Seeing as we had this quite a distance between Warsaw and Kutno, we have to take these objectives first. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade my infantry to have trucks. That way, once we've taken out the pocket here, we can go ahead and quickly ferry our troops over to Warsaw. Alright, so we have 7 core slots left to work with. I'm looking at my forces. I'm okay with how much armor we have. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to buy another Pioneer unit. Alright, it's going to give us 3 more to work with. Let's take a look at, because we're going to be doing a lot of fighting in the city, let's take a look at getting another artillery piece. So if I go with the 75mm gun, I'll have enough left over for a single additional core slot, which isn't going to give me much. I believe the only thing I can buy with that is bridge engineers, which might come in handy. Oh, I could also buy a recon plane, but I don't think that's really going to matter too much in this battle. It's a small map, and I can already see most of what they have. You know what, I'm going to go ahead and get the 105mm gun. Has a little bit longer range, and better defense, and of course a lot better offense. Yeah, we're definitely going to go with the 105mm gun. Alright, so that's going to be my force. I did get that hero. I think I'm going to put it on my brand new Pioneer unit. Try and get their experience up. I do like very experienced Pioneers, because especially when it comes to city fighting, which especially when you get it, if you do it the Russian way, which I'm not going to be because I did that the first time. I'm going to take the North African route when I get to it. But especially in Russia, Pioneers came in such great use when you're doing like the Moscow and Stalingrad maps. They came in so much handy. So having veteran engineers, maybe, well, I guess it's not too late, but I can't. I'm not gonna worry. I am also thinking maybe I'm gonna upgrade one of these Wehrmacht infantries to Grenadier unit. They can't move as far, but we do have the trucks. But they do have better anti-tank capabilities. Which, if I run into any more TKS tanks, or even the what was the other tank that the Polish had? 7BT, I think it was, or BP, something like that. If my infantry runs into that, they will have a better time. Not to mention they just have better air and tank defense to begin with. So let's go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and get a Grenadier unit as well. Okay, so that's gonna be my starting force. So let's get this going. Oh, I guess I had to deploy my units. God dang. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and deploy my Pioneer units to the north to try and get through the... Actually, I'm going to deploy one of them to the south here. Because I think with the southern force, I might actually push the outskirts of town. There is this fortified line here. So, I think that's what I'm going to do. The rest of my infantry I will use up here. I'm gonna put my lighter tank to the north, whereas my 238 I'm gonna put here with the open ground. They'll fare a lot better than trying to cross these rivers or the Campinos forest here. Recce, we'll put there. We'll put my 2 guns down here. My mobile artillery will go here to the south. I'll put a fighter at each airbase, and I'll put my bombers up here. That's really going to be my main thrust initially. Alright, so let's go ahead. Now that all the units are deployed, let's go ahead and start. Alright, so we do have some Polish cavalry here in the south. Go ahead and strafe them. Oh, we have some armor to the north. An armored car, that is. Okay, force him to retreat. Alright, Southern forces are on their way. Go ahead and start moving my infantry into position. Panzer 2 will go take out this armored car, hopefully. Go ahead and bomb the city, Loix. Let's see. Do they have any air force up here? They do. They have a bomber. Oh, they got a lot of reserve infantry up in the north. Use the scout car to guard the flank in case this cavalry comes down. I seriously doubt, seeing as they're guarding a command point, if they would. Go ahead and move. Oh, this artillery. The longer range artillery, being on the high ground, can actually reach the town. There you go. Cause some damage. 62. Why not? That's not too bad of odds, actually. And we get them to retreat. Can this infantry? This infantry can move in too. So in the first turn, we took the very first town. I can go ahead and move this artillery up. And there we go. First turn is complete. I don't think I got any other units to move. I do not. So let's go ahead and advance. Now the goal of the Polish really wasn't to actually defeat the Germans, at least not in the traditional sense. They knew the Germans had an overwhelming force, so their main objective was really just to hold off long enough into the French and the British. As you can see, my Stuka just got swarmed. But again, to the French and the British could actually put pressure on the Germans and force them to basically retreat, was the basic idea of the battle. Now, the French did actually launch a counterattack, and speaking of counterattacks, my force just got wrecked. The French did launch a counterattack into the German Saarland. Go ahead and move these guys up. Take this tree. It was actually moderately successful for the most part. I did do a great job of forcing German units along the border to retreat. They did take moderately heavy casualties, though. I am taking a risk putting these guys on a river hex, especially since they're engineers. But yeah, they did take moderately heavy casualties when in comparison. But for the most part, the advance to the Saarland, the Saar offensive, was actually mildly successful, and a lot of French saw it as a wasted opportunity, because about a week into the attack, the French decided to retreat, for no real apparent reason. Now the Germans, because of the success Germany was having, oh, there's an anti-tank gun, they did sort of, well, not sort of, they did start sending some forces back to defend against the counteroffensive. But for the most part, like I said, most French commanders actually saw it as a huge wasted opportunity, especially with all the ground that they did take in such a short amount of time, and the fact that they really outnumbered them in a lot of ways. The Germans, that is, even with the reinforcements coming in from the Eastern Front. Alright, so got the overrun, but there's really nothing he can do. Go ahead and just leave him there for now. I'll advance my infantry a little to scout forward. I'm gonna go and reinforce these guys. They took heavy casualties. Alright. So that artillery will support these two if they counter again. I think that's it. I'm happy with that. Actually, I'm going to get this, in case this guy moves south. I don't want him to be able to fight in the woods. Alright, so that was turn 2. Not sure what that bomber thinks it's doing. So they are countering from Warsaw itself. The other, oh, they're attacking across the river. That's insane. The other goal of this sort of counter-offensive near the Bzura River was really to help get reinforcements up to Warsaw. The Germans were flanking to the north across the Bug River and into Brest, so a lot of forces ended up retreating from the south up to the north into Warsaw as the German army started to surround and encircle forces. The Polish forces. Also, around the 16th of, on the 16th of September, the Russians got involved. So shortly after this offensive began, the Russians started crossing over the Polish border. Now, what's interesting about that is, at least from reports I've read, is the first Polish to encounter the Russians actually believed that the Russians were coming to help because of the non-aggression pact that they had signed with the Russians. Even though that they knew that they had signed a non-aggression pact with the Germans as well, they didn't realize that the non-aggression pact that they had with, that the Germans had with the Russians also included a pact that they would split up any territories gained. So, basically that they would attack Poland if Germany would, and then split the gains of war. Yeah, that wasn't as effective as I was hoping. I'm gonna go ahead and leave him in town. Yeah, for now. So as you see, they're actually moving forces, it looks like, towards Warsaw. That's actually what they actually did during the battles. As the pocket began to crumble, they started to sort of counter push out towards Warsaw across the river in hopes of reaching the safety of the city. Especially once Luftwaffe bombing raids actually got more intense. Alright, so they crumble. Go ahead and move these guys into the forest, attack that cavalry. Alright, keep bombing Kutno. Doesn't look like there's any more fighters to the north here. Oh, they do have a tank. A bit TKS. Actually, let's go out to these fighters. So we're whittling down this air force. I'm gonna try and push north and cut off these forces. And again, they are sort of gonna be moving through the forest, which is gonna make it more difficult for my tanks. So that infantry unit's gone. This one's pretty much destroyed. This anti-tank gun is actually giving me a lot of problems. Is that my new unit? Yeah, it's my new pioneer unit. Alright, so moving on. We're sort of breaking out. We should be reaching Kutno next turn, as long as these guys don't then shift their attention south. Ah, I didn't think their fighters could reach me up there, damn it. Well, that was suicidal. So they are marching their forces through the forest. And this guy did shift south, okay. I'm okay with that. Oh, and they do have some of the 7 TPs in this battle, okay. Of course he goes after my weakest unit and encircles me. Ah, he sort of... Let's go ahead and mass attack him. Actually... I wonder if this fighter can reach. If I can... No, damn. Well, I'll use him for support. Oh, and he can't reach here either. Dang. Okay, well, I'll use him to attack that guy. Hit him in the open and then retreat. Shoot. Might lose his Panzer. Actually, no, he'll fare better if he's in the open. Can he reach? Nah, he can't reach anybody. Get that guy. I think I'm gonna actually bomb him in the forest. Try and get his suppression down, that way he can't do too much damage against my Panzer here. Alright, keep hitting this anti-tank gun. This thing is giving me a lot more trouble than I thought it would. Oh my god. These grenadiers will shift north while these 2 units will continue to go towards Kutno. Move one of my artillery pieces this way. The other one will support this assault along the bridge. Alright. Ah, he rebased. Okay. That's how he got all the way up there. So the tank retreats. This tankette moves forward. 3-1. Oof. Oh man, my armor's getting creamed down here. Alright, full scale retreat with my armor. Ugh! I hate zone of control. I finally do some decent damage against them. No, I'm not gonna do that. Start moving these guys south. Well, that advance stalled really quickly. He did nothing. God dang it. Alright. This should be the last of the Air Force at least. And he's still not in range. He is in range to bomb these retreating units. Let's go ahead and do that. Weaken them up. I guess I'll restart my assault against Kutno. Alright, force them to retreat. I think I'm just going to leave them there. Four to 2, not too bad. Alright. So the southern advance has been stalled. Northern advance is proceeding pretty well. I want to take this air force so I can start rebasing, because none of my air force can reach these guys out here except for this guy. Although I guess I could rebase my Stuka in the south. Might look at that next turn. So they are beginning to reinforce Warsaw. I wasn't able to cut them off the way I had hoped. Alright, should be able to end this now. Don't want to totally move forward just yet. Alright, so we're taking the bridge. Not that I think there's any risk of these guys retreating anyway. What I should have done is maybe swung my forces up through here. Try and cut off all these retreating units. Now it's going to make the Battle of Warsaw even harder than it's probably going to be. I'm going to have to... I don't want to use all these Grun replacements, but I'm still not even halfway through the battle yet. Go ahead, mess these guys up a little more. Take any chance of them counterattacking away. Alright, they're down to 5 entrenchment. That's good. My forces in the south are ready to take another go at it. Alright, let's end their turn. That's disappointing. Alright, bring my recon up first. 1-1. Hopefully finish them off. There we go. Finished him off. Go ahead and move these guys out. I don't want to put these guys and leave them on trucks in case that tank decides to counter. I think this guy I'm going to go ahead and rebase. I meant to do that last turn. I'll strafe the tank in the open. Slowly moving forward. Got him to retreat at least. Straight from the loop offer. 2-2, we'll take it. 2-1. There you go. Alright. They're gonna counter with that infantry they just moved into the town. I'll take it. Infantry in the open, I'll take. Okay, well, he didn't do anything. And he gets a suppression, so. As you can see there, they do have this strong point. The Polish did have a bunch of fortifications on the southern route. Once the southern sort of fortifications fell, Warsaw pretty much capitulated after that. There really wasn't actually too much fighting within the city at that point. It was mostly here in these southern areas. Oh, I did that out of order. Attack with that guy. Get the overrun and get to attack the infantry. hopefully finish him off. That's what he gets for trying to counterattack. Alright. So that's that for the south. Take out this cavalry finally, hopefully. Take these two towns. One town in the airfield. Alright, and then these guys can start marching north, get on these outskirts. Alright, hopefully this town will fall. Go ahead and hit him with that first. Alright. Taking Kutno, just gotta take this airfield and then finish off these engineers. And then these guys can start heading towards Warsaw. They're actually the bulk of my main assault because they had the engineers. Although I do have some engineers down here as well. Yeah, okay. Oh, they had another TKS in the north. Once the Soviets got involved, it was really over for the Polish, and they ended up retreating a lot of their forces ooh, no, I don't want to move him in range of the strong point. They ended up trying to retreat a lot of their forces south, but that door eventually closed, and they had a lot of the Polish forces ended up trying to head back north. There was actually I believe it was a tank division that actually tried to push north and open a corridor so that the defenders in Warsaw could actually then retreat south and try and get out of Poland itself. Because at this point, especially with the Saar offensive ending up failing, they pretty much saw the writing on the wall and knew that they weren't going to be able to hold out. So it became a saving face operation just to try and get as many forces out of Poland as they could. Basically a live to fight another day idea. I'm not too worried about anybody counterattacking, so I can leave them in the wagons. Start moving these guys south. There we go. Alright, so everything to the west has been taken. Now we just have the final 3 objectives to take in Warsaw. And my tanks have pretty much become useless because they're not going to do well against these these strong points. And even if I get somebody up on their rear, these strong points will be able to hit them. So go ahead and end this turn. God dang, they have a hard on for my freaking artillery piece. They did just leave their flank in the air though. Just hit them with the artillery first, I guess. Go ahead and reinforce these guys. They're gonna need it to try and break down these defenses. Yeah. I'm gonna need my heavier artillery to start knocking out that strong point. These guys I'll go ahead and reinforce and start moving them next turn. Like I said, we're gonna need them at full strength to knock down these defenses. So the Polish really don't have any moves left. Unless they want to come out of their defenses here, which they would be crazy to do. Alright, so he's in range. Just gotta start whittling him down. At least that artillery is in range, and my 109 seems to be doing a pretty good job. I did put a crack in their armor. He does seem to be doing a pretty good job whittling him down. Alright, just this last Pioneer unit. He's in range now. Probably reinforce these guys next turn as well. Hate using all this prestige, but they're just not going to be able to knock through all these defenses without it. Like I said, I'm not really using my tanks right now because, as you can see, even against them, they would just take losses. They were like, well, the odds are that they would just take losses. Although he does now have a better odds against the fort, but we might end up using him. We'll see. Though a lot of that might have to do with this artillery piece guarding these infantry. Once this artillery piece is gone, we might have a better shot. Alright, so we destroyed that. Warsaw defenders us up for the temporary morale drop due to the destruction of the strong point. Which is basically what happened. I mean, once the southern defenses fell, pretty much they just gave up all hope at that point of being able to mount a serious defense. And yeah, it's very soon after the southern defense. I think southern defenses fell on the 26th, and they then surrendered on the 27th. I could be getting my dates wrong, but I believe that is the correct dates. Okay, I'm reinforce these guys. And so hopefully we can start pounding these southern defenses soon. I just realized I still got these guys all the way back here, but I don't think I have an air base. We'll rebase these guys here. I don't think I can really use them. It looks like, yeah, they have an artillery piece back here, which the Polish artillery anti-aircraft, that is, within Warsaw was really effective and did a lot to damage the Luftwaffe's abilities. There's a famous picture of like Polish soldiers holding pieces of what was left of a Henkel bomber. So. Let's see if my Stuka, I can't reach him, we can hit him. Doesn't do anything. So they retreat out of their fortifications, right back into their fortifications, and then eventually surrender. Oh, there you go. That wasn't actually as difficult as it could have been. Alright, start surrounding these guys. Can't quite get over there, though. 3 to 6. Let's see what happens. 4 to 5. Not as good as I was hoping. Like I said, I mean, it sort of did, sort of didn't. Like I said, there really wasn't too much fighting in the town itself after the southern defenses fell. Most of the fighting that actually happened in Warsaw tended to be in those first few days where the Germans were probing the city. So that morale drop is now gone. Alright, start swinging everybody. Where's in range? He is. Although he is in range of that anti-aircraft gun, but he's not supposed to take any damage, so let's see what happens. Does get suppression, but doesn't take any casualties. Alright, so those guys fell. Force them to retreat, so these 2 points we should easily take next turn, although I could... Yeah, why not? Attack him, and then we can actually take this point. There you go. Can we move? Why would the... I guess because he's on River Hex. Okay, we'll just wait next turn. Alright. Moving out in the open. Hit him. Okay, let's start moving all my forces in. Okay, get him here. Him here. Pound him. And then next turn we'll assault. Actually, let's go ahead and assault. Should actually finish him off. But none of my guys have any movement points to get in there. Actually, no. He does survive that assault. Okay, so next turn. Really can't do anything. Go ahead and take this airbase for the prestige. Go ahead, take out the anti-tank gun. Or anti-aircraft gun. And then take the final objective. So there you have it. Well, Poland has fallen. Technically, Poland wouldn't fall. Like I said, they capitulated, I believe, on the 20th. It was either 27th or 28th of September. They would last about another week before they would actually, well, the last bastion would fall. I believe it was the Battle of Clock, something like that, where it was the last holdout of Polish forces, and they would surrender on October the 6th. So the invasion of Poland lasted just over a month. Actually, right the day before my brother's birthday, they surrendered. So there you have it. We have now finished the invasion of Poland. Blitzkrieg is in full effect, although, like I think I talked about in the last episode, where truly I believe a lot of Blitzkrieg is a myth, German propaganda, but it is what it is. So next mission, or next episode, we'll be doing the invasion of Norway. So that should be fun. It's a really interesting one. I did Poland, not Poland North, Norway North, my first playthrough. So I'll be doing Norway South this time. But I'll probably talk about a little bit about Norway North in the next episode. So hopefully you'll tune in for that. But for now, this is General History, and I'm signing off.